specifically this current weekend. Um, I'll be completely honest. I was super excited about having a convention for Transformers, especially the fan run one that happened in my hometown. But while it was fun to go to my first convention in 6 years because finances and life and other things, um, let's be honest, most conventions it's like, oh, go to this somewhat far off place and pay over $1,000 in cumulative stuffs um, to talk with people about pieces of plastic for a weekend and go to panels on stuff. Um, it's just a weird concept to me, and it really cemented to me how weird this notion of fandom and talking with other people about things is. I'll be completely honest. It's a weekend like this current one, this past one, by the time this is up and people watch it more actively, because this is replacing the last video that I did on this because that got way too rambly. That really cement to me that like the only real fandom, if you will, that I'm really comfortable about talking in person, or that I would go to a thing for, would be like, I don't know. I like talking about baseball with people. I like talking about bands that I like with people. To me, it's like almost conceptually weird now at this point, both because of just who I am as a person, as an introvert, and as just somebody who's mostly out of this hobby who only gets the occasional figure, maybe like one figure every month or every couple months, to go to something like TFCon, where it's like, hey, here's all these people in this congregated space talking about the same thing. I had a brain fart there. I overheard so many random conversations about several figures, one of which I ended up getting, and talked with a whole slew of other people about random things. Bumped into Vangelis mainly because he was at some of the same booths that I was at when I was doing a couple circuits at the dealer room, and very briefly chatted with Pia about a couple figures. But that was really it, and Pia was mainly chatting about with one of the other guys at the. I want to say it was the it was a booth that was like shared between ages 3 and up. This other guy, the main dude from the Unrustable Bastards range, which looks decent. I'll be honest, I'm kind of on board with them. At the same time, I'm kind of worried about the longevity of the figures in that Unrustable Bastards range because it looks like the robot forms of the bikes are basically all ball joints and hinge joints, which I don't know how that's going to hold up long term. They look really cool, but for a thing that was kickstarted like 2-3 years ago now, and I get toy production time and all of that, it's just weird to me that something that was kickstarted 3-ish years ago, I believe I heard more about it longer ago than 3 years. But now that we're just seeing like the finalized prototypes of it, it's kind of weird to me. I get it, toy development takes time. Stuff that's like in concept now over at Hasbro, we'll see in like 2019, 2020. But still, it's a little weird to me. It's just stuff like that convention, like TFCon, really cemented to me that I am a complete freaking introvert. And to me, it's hard to wrap my mind around. I'm going to be around all these people. I'm going to go up to this random stranger and be like, oh, hey, I see you have that figure. What do you think about that figure? Do you like it? Oh, I literally overheard while I was just killing time before the David K panel, overheard people talking about this guy, MMC's Calidus, who is one of the figures that I got at the convention. And they're basically like, oh yeah, no, that figure's amazing. It literally looks like the Robots in the Skies More Than Meets the Eye comics Rodimus. Basically like he stepped right off the page. I don't read the comics. I just like how this figure looks. And I think for me, that's ultimately like what drove me to get a lot of the purchases that I've gotten recently. And the 4 things that I got at TFCon was, it was stuff that I had heard good things about, that I was intrigued enough to get. 2 of them were cheap. And the other 2, one of which is Calidus here, I just liked the mold. To be honest, I only got Calidus because the show exclusive, the Shattered Glass version of him, was sold out by 10:30 on Saturday when I was in the dealer room. which to me says they had of the stock that they had of it. It was sold out very quickly and was basically they only had maybe like a couple dozen left going into Saturday. Because from what I saw from other people that were there, their Twitter, like Bolt Matrix, there was a massive line for the dealer room, even at like 8:30 in the morning. And the dealer room didn't even open until 9 for everybody that had weekend passes. So, I mean, people were probably lining up for the dealer room at like 7:30. And stuff like that just cements to me that I'm not really at that point with this fandom anymore. I'm still going to be a Transformers collector. I like these figures. I like these toys. But at the same time, like, a lot of both TFCon and the stuff that I got from it, even though they're all enjoyable figures, I'm just like, huh, okay. I know, it was just conceptually weird to me to, like, be in a very claustrophobic dealer room. That's the thing, another thing. If you have claustrophobia, you're not going to like conventions like TFCon, because the dealer room, like a solid third of it was taken up by the Chosen Prime's display. Granted, they were the main sponsor and whatever of TFCon, and their display was great because they showed off a bunch of third-party stuff. And oh my gosh, most of that stuff looked amazing. 2/3 of it way out of my price range, because I'm not going to drop like $200-300 on a figure. But I don't know. I'm walking away content from the convention because I wanted to go to it and I had a fun time. But it was really clear to me going into the convention, even after I knew that I was going to be in DC and that I was going to go to it, that the main focus of my trip to DC was going to be family. There's a family anniversary of sorts, I'll put it that way, of a family member of mine's passing. That's tomorrow, October 2nd, probably the day most of you are watching this. And that's the main reason why I went, was because tomorrow, technically today, the 2nd, whenever you're watching this, October 2nd, is the 3-year mark of said family members passing. And I wasn't able to make it home last year for the 2-year mark. So that was the main purpose of this trip, was just to spend time with family and go to a baseball game. TFCon was just kind of quickly an afterthought. It was still a very fun afterthought, and I am glad I went. And I'll see every panel that David Gay does at a convention that I'm at, because he's great. Although his panel felt very short for the hour that it was, and I could just tell that a lot of the questions were like, "Oh, hey, David Gay, I haven't met you before. What was your favorite thing about being a voice actor? How do you become a voice actor? All of that." And it was just like, a lot of the questions were cute and endearing, but I was like, he gets all these questions all the time. Can we ask original ones? I don't know. Some of the stories he told were great, though. But yeah, on the whole, it was a great experience. It's just, for me, it was just interesting, because, I know, I'm looking at the stuff that I got, the figure that I got right before the convention, who I actually saw at the convention. Could have gotten there, whatever. Probably for cheaper, too. Nah. And the figures that I got at the convention. And in spite of, like, 2 of them, because I legitimately really like Calidus, even though I don't read the comics, with the exception of him and one other one, I'm like, eh. To be honest, like, I was about this close to getting Open and Play's Galvatron figure, who apparently is coming out soon, if he's not already out, and they just had him out, like, final version of him at the convention to buy for $50. And it's basically just, I think it's like their version of a classic Galvatron. That's the vibe that I was getting from it, at least. And again, I was about this close to dropping the $50 for it. PL ended up getting it. I talked with him very briefly about it while he was talking with the guy who was selling the stuff for Open and Play and one other company. Oh, Zhu Zhang, who did this guy, Supreme Commander, who's respectably decent. I just have some tolerance issues with him. This joint's a little loose right here, this shoulder, which makes the gun wibble wobble, and the gun doesn't like to stay in, even though it's the Masterpiece peg system, which is normally fairly solid. And just the Wind Vane gun. I've never been a fan of the Wind Vane gun, and that's just an issue with the mold in general, not necessarily Supreme Commander. Zhu Zhang's doing the Aerobots and a combined form, and I messed around with them, but I can't with those. I mean, they're going to be good, like, symbol classics aerial bots, but, oh my god. they just felt so like they felt and looked very like overly simplistic. Um, just something about them felt very less like I don't know, just unfinished. The head sculpts on a lot of them really bothered me, and they looked just kind of like almost just like too plain. I loved how the Galvatron looked. I just couldn't really justify spending the cash on him for whatever reason. Um, Probably rightfully so. Um, but I don't know, just from what I saw of him, like this could have been like looking. Just PL tweeted out a photo of him in of Galvatron in alt mode, and that's open and place. Whole thing is you get the figure and you have to figure out how to do it yourself. No instructions. We don't do instructions. I actually kind of like that because part of why I got into this hobby originally was the whole puzzle situation with trying to figure out transformation. And I asked PL how the transformation was in person, how intuitive it was. He's like, it's actually like fairly intuitive. It's pretty simple. It's not that bad at all. Didn't take me that long to figure it out. And I mean, I have a couple issues with how the alt mode looks. I'm going to be completely honest. But for what would have been a Classics Galvatron for my collection, kind of probably should have gotten it. So, I mean, if I have regrets, it's not going. I still had a fun time, even though I was completely overwhelmed, because I am, at my core, an introvert. It is that it didn't get open in place Galvatron, which I'm probably going to have to track down now at some point, even though the aftermarket's probably going to have it up to like 65 before shipping. Nobody seemed to have MP36 Megatron, which I was kind of expecting, which was odd. So that's kind of a regret, but also just a weird thing. So it's not really a regret. I'm not insulting that. Can't talk. My other regret honestly has to be this t-shirt right here. This is the shirt for the convention. I'll stand up so you guys can see it. And I don't mind it, but I have my issues with it. So the company that did the shirt, what's their name? DoubleAgentGear.com. There's their logo. This is over. There we go. It's their logo's like way too big on like that lower section of the shirt. I got a size too big. That's my own damn fault. I'm right between a large and an extra large, so it literally depends on how the shirt is cut and how the shirt is made. So this is way too big on me, but whatever. My other issue with the shirt is, yes, it's a Transformers fan-run convention, but if you look at this design, TFCon 2017 USA, this is not a shirt that I'm going to wear around in public saying, hey, I like Transformers, I like Autobots, I like Decepticons. It's cool to be a fan of, like, transforming robots or whatever, even though the movies are complete shit. This is a shirt that really only applies to, like, the fandom that is, like, really active and knows the lore and everything. Don't get me wrong. I know the lore, or I know the history and the lore and the backstories and all that with Transformers. But at the same time, like, unless you know, Quintesson's 86 movie, creators of Transformers, yada, 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 if you've been watching, unless you've been watching Chris McFeely's series, The Basics on Transformers, this is going to be a weird shirt where people are just going to, if you wear this down the street, just casually, I'm just going to go with this as an example because I'm rambling, just walking down the street casually like this, people are going to be like, what's that weird, creepy looking alien thing with a green ray pooping from its butt? And then this, like, weird, not quite, like, actual, like, Arabic, English language script. And I was just like, this is going to be, like, something that's, like, people are like, what does that say? Something FCon? Something con? I don't know. It's just, like, something about this design bothers me. And the shirt was $25, roughly. I'm overshooting, but rounding up, whatever, on top of my registration. So, this is more of a personal regret, but I legitimately think I could have just foregone getting this t-shirt, because I'm not going to wear this. I only got the t-shirt, I'm like, oh, it's TFCon, I'll get the t-shirt. Maybe I'll get a cool Transformers t-shirt. I'm going to have to go with 80s Tees now and see what they have for a cool Transformers shirt. Because I had one back in college that was really cool. It's just like a spray-painted graffiti logo of the Autobots and Decepticons. That was cool. This, I'm just like, where am I going to wear this? I'm like, this is a shirt that I'm not going to wear in public when I'm out and not at work. Because it's like, well, what is this? And plus, I'm a burly dude. I have a bit of a beer belly. So, if I'm just sitting, you don't even really see, like, the bottom part of the design. You just see, like, the TFCon part, which is already near indecipherable. And then you see, like, part of the quintesson and the purple ray coming from its underbelly. Basically, it looks like he's pooping. It looks like it looks like he's peeing on the 2017. I don't know. It's just something about the design really bothers me. Kind of regretting getting this T-shirt because literally, weekend registration and the T-shirt is the cost of general admission. So I could have literally just done the weekend admission and saved the $20. Oh well. This video is already like almost as long as the original. I don't know. This is just gonna be a T-shirt that I keep with like the ones that I wear when I'm walking around my apartment in pajamas. This is gonna be a pajama shirt, if I'm being completely honest. Really quickly, let's go over the other stuff that I got at TFCon. I already showed Zhu Zhang, Supreme Commander. I'll probably do a separate video on him because he's pretty cool. Won't be a full-on reveal, it'll just be a talky video at some point. Wei Zhang's All C, their knockoff upscaled KO Generations RC. I know I said in my last video that she's going to be like my stand-in for Masterpiece RC, but I don't know if she is. She's just going to be like an upscaled like KO version of Generations RC in my collection. I like both modes. It's just for me, in the robot mode, certain gaps between this panel and the rest of her, this car section just hanging off of her, are really noticeable, which is why they made this section detachable. Sorry, that being this center section and this entire back section here minus the robot mode legs. But if you detach it, then you just have that sitting around wherever, because I'm not going to use that as like a shield thing or display that in front of the figure. A, because I don't have the space. B, because that looks terrible in my opinion. But while this car mode looks great, and it somehow makes the Generations alt mode look even better, yeah, what's that situation? I don't know if you guys can see this, but the legs. Wei Zhang felt the need to make these sections of the legs, the upper thighs, die cast. And because of that, there's no like good way for these to tap in properly to this section of the back of the vehicle mode. So they just kind of hang out, and they kind of just like sit awkwardly just past the vehicle mode, and they're not flush. That really honestly bugs me. It could be that I'm doing something wrong. There's an actual tab in there, but that looks like, that just seems like nigh impossible to line up with the rest of this. So, yeah, I don't know. I do recommend her. It's just, for me, it's like, well, she's cool. I'll probably just keep her on display in one mode or the other and not really fiddle around with her that much. I know, I definitely think this Wei Zhang LC has been overhyped. I'll be completely honest. It's good for $20 to $25, but, like, I saw her and I'm like, oh, I want. No, just like, if you see this and you're looking for something to mess around with, to fiddle with, because it's been a while since you've gotten a Transformer, get it, but you don't need to be out in a rush to get it, if I'm being completely honest. And this does make me a little bit hesitant to get anything else that Wei Zhang does as a knockoff. There. This is a gin and tonic, by the way. It's probably gonna hit me like a ton of bricks in about 20 minutes, but anyhow, moving on. Let's see. Let's go with the other one. So I mentioned one of the show exclusives, the Shattered Glass repaint of Calidus. The other show exclusive, the one that I didn't get, that was actually not sold out and they had plenty of stock of it, which to me says they probably shouldn't have made it a show exclusive, was, how was it? Ocular Max's Terra Aegis, their Trailbreaker. They had a more rally deco on it. Apparently it was a deco that homaged a specific race in France, that a lot of fans that had gotten Terra Aegis from Aegis 3 and up were a fan of, and there was some weird connection there between the race and Terra Aegis's mold. I don't know. I was there when one of the guys from Aegis 3 and up was explaining it to, I want to say Evangelist, I could be wrong. Maybe it was PR. Maybe it was just some other random dude. I don't really know. But that just, it never really struck my fancy. And whatnot. It's like, the mold looks cool. I may track down the mold at some point, but nothing about that exclusive was striking my fancy. The Shattered Glass version of Calidus was sold out long before I got to the convention, apparently, on yesterday. But I picked up the Culture Asterix mode from Mastermind Creations. They didn't have like much representation there, which is odd. They literally just had a booth with like 2 guys, and they had a couple of their prototypes and their upcoming products out periodically throughout the show. And they had the this guy as one of the exclusives, obviously, for sale. I like him. I've been a complete fool and have accidentally thrown away the Autobot mask that he comes with. Because apparently, I guess this is supposed to be like Shattered Glass Culture or something. I don't really know. Frankly, I don't really care. I just like how this looks, if I'm being honest. I liked how the original Tarn from Mastermind Creations, the original Culture, looked. But just something about the color scheme, just like the very Decepticon-y purple and just kind of the silvers and all that, just kind of made it look a little bit bland to me. And this pops more, in my opinion, and it catches my eye more. And he's going to be, if I want to give a characterization to him, more of just like a rogue character. So, yeah. I don't know. Side note, we're giving figures from, like, third-party companies are giving characters like Tarn from the comics and stuff, and the DJD figures. When are we going to get a proper Classics lockdown and a proper Classics Lugnut? I know this is a tired fucking argument, but am I the only person that's on this train? Like, when are we going to get a proper Classics lockdown? I literally have either animated, or no, both. Animated and, Revenge of the Fallen. No, not Revenge of the Fallen. Hunt for the Decepticons lockdown as stand-ins for a proper Classics lockdown. When are we going to get one? We have the name re-upped from Age of Extinction. And that Age of Extinction lockdown was complete shit, even though he looked cool in the movie. But when are we going to get a proper Classics lockdown? Come on. Even if you have to call him something else, give us a proper Classics lockdown. I did see the, speaking of lockdown, the MMC reformatted Jaegertron at the convention. But every booth that I saw him at wanted like over 100 for him. I'm not about that life. I know it's bad mold, and people have said it's a shit mold with all versions of it. That said, Lockdown and Cyclonus, even though people give the Cyclonus version the benefit of the doubt because it's Cyclonus. But I still want to track down the mold at some point. I'm just not going to pay 100 or over 100 for it. I'm going to pay maybe 80 at most for it. I could have haggled, but literally every booth that I saw it at was like a place like the Chosen Prime or something like that. So they're not going to sell it to me for like less than what they have it listed. I'm not going to haggle with a place like the Chosen Prime, who I highly respect, because they sell action figures and they're collectors and all that jazz, and they have a presence in this community, which I'm a very like fringe member of. To knock off $30 of a figure, no. They also had freaking Roadbuster and Strika from Mastermind Creations, Titanica and Dicamus or Dicamus list for sale. But again, 110. I'm sorry, I'm not paying that for a transformation, for a bot that has a transformation that's even simpler than Tarn's over here. Although, quick side note, and I'm looking at my time now, Jesus Christ. The people at Mastermind Creations got a little bit mad for me because I did, like, poke the prototype. It looked finished, and they had it out on their table. Every other booth that had prototypes or figures out on their table, you could mess around with. I get it, comes courtesy, you ask. I get that it's common courtesy to ask, but at the same time, like, if you have something out and people are looking at it, like, somebody's going to grab it and mess with it, and I just happen to be that guy with them. Mastermind Creations is doing a, to not beat around the bush anymore, a bulkhead repaint of that Titanica / Dicamus mold. Basically, literally picture that mold in army green and black with the kind of prime bulkhead face, but more round, if that makes sense. It looks fine. I just looked at it, I'm like, wait, that's bulkhead, and that's not a kit bash, or that's not a custom. That looks interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. It intrigued me, and I got an up close look at it. But I'm just like, this is a skinny version of bulkhead. This is weird to me. Anywho, enough of my ramblings. That was the main thing of note that I saw that was new at the convention, other than, I don't know if it's Zhu Zhang or somebody, but they're doing they did a proper, like, G1 Megatron thing. PA has pictures of it on Twitter, because I know he got it. And the box looks great. The figure looks decent. Actually, they didn't have the figure out, they just had it in the box. And the one figure that they got out of the box, they just had it in the styrofoam still, and when you tried to pick it up, it would come untabbed. So that to me says it was still a prototype, or that one was just mangled, so I didn't get a chance to mess around with it. So I want to say Zhu Zhang is doing a gun Megatron, which is cool. Or that was some other company, I don't know. Whatever, I'm sure PL will do a review on it, so just stay tuned for that. Hot Soldiers Soundwave. Whatever Hot Soldiers does, I'm on board with. I've only messed around with it as I drop him. This Soundwave, very little, but he's really cool. It's basically, if you think back to what the Scout class price point was, right around Revenge of the Fallen, like 2010, 2012, that era, that's what this is. This is like a Scout class, or a Legends Plus class, I guess to use normal monikers, or more recent monikers for size classes, version of G1 Soundwave. It's basically they're doing the whole DX9 Warren Pocket thing, as well. And I really like how this guy looks. I heard good things about him from the review coverage that he was getting, but I picked him up at the convention and in hand. Yeah. And, yeah, he does come with Laserbeak, too. So, yeah. And I know they're doing a Sound Blaster version with Rat Bat. So, probably won't get that, just because it's just another version of the mold, and I would only want Rat Bat from it. But, yeah. Anyway, you guys already saw my thoughts on Calidus. I like Calidus. I've actually got him in a really freaking cool pose right now. Might leave him in that pose for a little bit. So anyway, this take 2 video has gone on far too long, so I'm going to end it here. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.